T minus 3, 2, 1, ignition.
What you know about this life? Yeah. Just relax, baby, get high. Yeah, you're on your way to the best night ever. No top on it, no top, out with the stars.
What up, everyone? Connor here with T-Bay, and we're back with a little draft teaser. It's almost time for the draft, so I thought we could get together and get people hyped up for the draft. What do you think, Thomas?
Hell yeah, dude. It's coming up so fast. It's crazy. Was it like 3 weeks away?
Yeah, I
Sheesh.
can't wait.
Yeah.
So I threw some slides of Mexico's finest here on the front, some nice places of the resort, and then a image of similar to the lovely ladies we'll be seeing at the resort, I'm sure.
Very nice.
So let's go ahead and get started. I can go to the next fucking slide. Oh, shit. Sorry, one sec. All right. So I thought I'd do something similar to what we did last year where since right now everyone's only got the keepers, we can look at just how important it is to have good keepers. And then we can kind of preview what keepers people have this year. And then I also looked at the importance of nailing your early draft picks. And so we can take a look at that and then make some predictions and throw some hot takes out there at the end. How's that sound?
Very good. I love it.
Sweet. So looking back to our 2020-2021 season, you can see kind of the trend here. The highest scoring keeper groups are highlighted in green with the lowest scoring in red. Two lowest scorers played each other in the losers game. And then, of course, Jacob beat Finley in the championship. So I think it's a pretty strong case right off the bat as far as the importance of having good keepers.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just crazy the amount of running backs that were kept this year compared to now.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, it is wild. Also, like, Finley's keepers are just so fucking insane for this year.
Yeah, I mean, and these guys were all like better than they are now. It's
I
fucking
know.
wild.
Yeah.
He went 10 too. That's crazy.
Yeah, so some of the big takeaways here. The top three scoring teams all had at least one quarterback keeper. All but one team kept two running backs, which again, like you said, is kind of crazy. There's only one receiver kept out of the top three. And then any team with two receivers finished fourth or worse. So I think some pretty strong evidence this season that running backs were the way to go. Then looking back at that next season, once again, I had the highest scoring keeper group. That was a great season for me. And then Jacob was up there second. And then Andrew, once again, had one of the lowest groups. But just crazy to note Michael's record relative to his keeper average.
Yeah, how about that? 3 running backs too. Wow. Was that
I
the
know.
last time anyone kept 3? No, you kept 3 last year, I guess.
Yeah, I'll almost always try and go 3 running
Yeah.
back. But yeah, just kind of crazy. And so I think just looking at some of the takeaways, 2 teams kept 3 running backs. They finished first and third. And then teams that didn't keep at least 2 running backs finished 4th, 7th, and 8th. Again, not a lot of receiver keepers out of the top scoring groups. And then teams that kept 2 receivers finished 4th and 6th. And then moving on to last year, that was kind of the shift for us. More people keeping quarterbacks. You could see Bobby and Jacob 2 highest scoring. They were the 2 in the championship. And then the 2 lowest were Andrew and Finley. Andrew avoided being in the Shard Bowl this past year. But Cam's total was also quite low. And of course, he was in there. So I think pretty strong evidence at this point that keepers matter as far as kind of setting the floor and ceiling for your team.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with quarterbacks. Like, everyone figured it out. That's just like your floor is you need the quarterbacks. Because if you don't have like the 20 points per game quarterbacks, you're just like behind everyone else by default. Unless you're like keeping insane guys like CMC and Eckler. But like still, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Especially if you get them on long contracts. You just got to keep them.
Yeah, no, I think that is totally where the value is at. I mean, you look at like Andrew and Finley, the like average that Stafford and Rodgers had last season. Like they sucked, and
Yeah.
they obviously invested a keeper spot in that quarterback, and that quarterback sucks. So I think obviously a lot of risk with keeping quarterbacks. So I think it'll be kind of interesting this year with you keeping Kirk. Michael has Rodgers again, although that's looking better. But like Tua, he's got some injury risk, so I think it adds a little more variability for teams.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be very interesting. Rodgers especially. But, yeah. And then there's going to be a lot of guys. I mean, you can get fucking Geno and Jared Goff in, like, the third round. They're going to be really good still. So it's going to be like, I keep Kirk, and Jared Goff was even better. I could have drafted him in the fourth or something.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, and it's going to happen, too.
Exactly. Definitely Geno's going to do it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. But, yeah, so this keeper group, no one kept 2 receivers. That was the first time ever. Only 3 teams kept 2 running backs, 2 or more running backs. That was the fewest ever. And then all teams kept at least 1 quarterback. That was the first time ever as well. So based off those last 3 seasons, the next thing we did was kind of highlight the importance of keeper quality. And so basically took the 2 highest scoring keeper teams in all of the last 3 years. So a total of 6 individual seasons. Their total record, 51-25. That's an awesome record. Also, 5 out of the 6 made the playoffs in their respective season, and then all 5 made the championship. And then 2 out of the 3 years, the champion has been one of the 2 highest scoring keeper leagues, with the exception being when I lost to Cam. So again, I mean, pretty much if you can have one of the 2 highest scoring keeper groups, you're going to, make playoffs, if not make the championship, which is pretty dang good odds. And then on the flip side of that, the lowest scoring keeper teams, just a horrible record. 5 out of the 6 have missed the playoffs. And then funny enough, all 5 have made the Shard Bowl. And then, of course, 3 out of 3 years, the loser has been one of the 2 lowest scoring teams. So I want this to scare everyone. That's kind of my purpose on this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, if you have shitty keepers, you're unless you have like a home run draft, you're just like going to be behind everyone. Because you're playing catch up all year. And then you have fewer assets to try to trade. So it's just a nightmare. Like my team last year. So there's value in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of applying what a past winners look like, trying to make predictions off of you see here this year's keeper selection for everyone. So 2 out of the 5, and again, that's the 5 highest scoring keeper groups that have made the playoffs. They had 2 quarterback keepers, and then 2 out of the 3 years, the champ had 2 quarterbacks. And then again, 2 out of the 5 teams had 2 running back keepers. 2 out of the 3 champions had 2 running backs. Only 1 out of the 5 had 2 receiver keepers. No champion has ever had 2 receiver keepers. That's, I think, worth noting because Bobby and Cam have kind of reversed the trend and both have 2 receiver keepers. So that I think will be really interesting. And then no champion has had a tight end keeper. So just based off that mold alone, the 4 teams that fit are myself, Jacob, Nick, and Michael. Anything stand out to you there?
It's interesting that wide receivers have only gotten more valuable, but now it seems like we're keeping less of them, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's strange because there are so many good wide receivers now that are going to get drafted. Or, I mean, if they weren't being kept, they'd be drafted early. Like their ADP and like redraft leagues are crazy high now. Yeah. So it's interesting that. But I guess that's just because people are keeping quarterbacks. And, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, the shift towards quarterback has been pretty extreme. Also, I feel like it's pretty hard to land a top-tier receiver on a good contract, too. Like, It seems like there's a lot of really good quarterbacks that are on, like, 4, 5, 6, 7-year contracts, and receivers, like, outside of Chase and Jefferson. Like, I can't really think of any. That's a big reason I think, like, CD and Devontae Adams and stuff are, like, back in the draft.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
same with, wait, what's his face? Diggs is on a long contract, but I don't even remember what it is.
Yeah. So then on the flip side of this, kind of looking at what the makings are of the loser. So 0 out of the 5 had 2 quarterbacks. 2 out of the 3 losers had 0 quarterbacks. I don't think we're ever going to see like someone not keep a single quarterback at least. So don't really need to worry about that. But I think kind of what you and I are talking about earlier, where if you only have the one quarterback keeper, it's a lot of faith you're putting in that guy. And so there's a lot of risk where you look at like Andrew's team last year and he had those 3 awesome running backs, but then his quarterback keeper totally shit the bed and almost single-handedly ruined his season. So there's definitely a lot of risk there with one quarterback. And then people tend to have 2 receiver keepers and lose. So I think that's interesting. And then everyone had 2 running backs, but I think that's just more so a nature of what the trend was in our league. But based off that mold alone, the only person that fits perfectly is Cam. So I guess Cam's destined to lose this year.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see about that. It is interesting. I mean, it was just a slow thing. Everyone figured out quarterbacks, but now it's like if you don't have one, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Especially on a long contract.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just the like flexibility that a quarterback on a long contract gives you is great. But the last thing I kind of wanted to look at, and this might seem like a no duh, but it's very important to draft well early on. And so what I did was look back in the last 2 years of the drafts and then go back through all the first and second round picks of those last 2 years and take the average points per game of the players selected by team. And so on the right-hand side here, you can see the point per game average for the players drafted. Myself, Michael, and Bobby were the top 3. We all made the playoffs. And then the 3 worst drafters, Cam, Andrew, and Finley, all made the losers bracket. So, I mean, I think, again, it's kind of an obvious situation, but I think there is obviously some pretty strong evidence that fucking up in the early rounds can really screw you. And then the last 2 years, the champ has been one of the best 3 drafters. So, again, just kind of really important to kind of raise that overall ceiling for you. And then the league's best drafters over the last 2 years have been Michael, myself, and shockingly, Andrew. He had like a really small sample size where he's only drafted like 3 guys in those rounds. But
yeah,
still, you know.
Yeah, that's impressive, man.
Yeah, and these are all on the bottom here. And then, honestly, I thought you would be lower just because I feel like you've had really bad same luck with drafting. But yeah, Finley, Jacob, and you have been the worst drafters. And again, it's all small sample size, but still kind of fun to look at. And I think does kind of emphasize the point that you don't want to fuck up in these early rounds.
Yeah. Well, and that shows, like, I mean, Jacob, he's the lowest, right? And it just, like, he's got Mahomes and Justin Jefferson, so it's like, it just doesn't even fucking matter. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just the strength of having good keepers, the kind of difference that makes for you. But I think it really takes a combination of a great group of keepers and a good draft to really kind of, push you into the top.
Yeah.
So kind of like what we've talked about throughout this little video here, the league trends. So again, these are all everyone's keepers, just so everyone has that fresh in their mind. I made this pretty nifty little chart here that shows the trend of like the league's keeper decisions. So in this year, we've had the most quarterbacks ever kept, 6 teams with 2 quarterbacks, the fewest running backs ever kept, only 2 teams with 2 running backs. And you can see, I mean, from 15 keepers back in the 2020 season to now 9. I mean, that is just like a huge drop off. I think quarterbacks too, like you look at the rate of increase there, just fucking nuts. And then also first time that 2 tight ends have been kept. Ironically, neither of them are Kelsey. So I don't know what the fuck we're doing. And then 2 teams kept 2 receivers. And I think there seems to be pretty strong evidence that keeping 2 receivers usually doesn't result in a lot of success. And so the past finishes of those teams were 4th twice, and then 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So it should be pretty interesting. What do you think?
No, that's why. Because honestly, I have Cam and Bobby like at the top of my tier list. Well, and Jacob too. But like, it's pretty crazy because I think they both have such good wide receivers that, and then on top of that, they're both drafting 1 and 2. So it just like worked out perfectly for them.
I agree.
I don't think that this trend will hold up at all because these
I
are so
don't
stacked.
think so. Well, and then on top of that, they have the quarterback receiver stack.
Yeah.
So I agree. I don't think that that trend's going to continue, but I think it does point to the fact that you have to have a really good situation with those 2 receivers. Like it can't just be any 2, top 15 type receivers. Like it has to be a really elite, combination of receivers.
Yeah, there's no like Kenny Galladay's or whatever getting dropped out there. But also, well, and it's just like this generation of running backs is just like dropping off. Like Alvin and Zeke, Dalvin and Mixon and Aaron Jones. Every fucking running back is like 26, 27, and it's running back by committee now. There's no more just Zekes who just own, except for like Derrick Henry and probably Bijan. But it's interesting. All these running backs at the exact same time are falling off a cliff.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting trend. All right, so I think we can just wrap it up here. But I wanted to go through and just based off all the information that we've gone through, figure we could make some predictions as far as best worst keeper group, possible league winners, league losers. You want to start with who you think some of the best keepers are, or keeper groups?
Yeah, this one's really tough because but it's a like very close between. I can't narrow it down to even like 3, but probably Jacob, Bobby, and Cam, and then you're right there too. But it's just because Lamar's a question mark. The Seahawks just drafted a running back. But Jacob, obviously, for Mahomes and Justin Jefferson, that's just way too good. And if Deshaun Watson, I can only imagine he's going to get better. ETN, I don't know if he's going to still be great or what, but he'll probably get better. So Jacob's kind of leading the pack there, but then Bobby's there too, man. I mean, that stack with Allen and Diggs. The only thing on his is Dak. I fucking hate Dak. I think he's ass. Even though he's literally Kirk Cousins, and I kept Kirk Cousins, but I still don't like him. But then you got Cam, but his only thing is DeAndre Swift. Like, who the fuck knows what's gonna happen there?
Like Pollard or
Then
like,
oh man, he'd be looking way better. But then he's got Burrow and Chase, and if Kupp is just Kupp as usual, which I don't see any reason why he won't be, then he can easily be the top keeper group. But I think there's just like there's like 3 tiers, and those are the top. I would say is like Cam, Bobby, you, and Jacob, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, I think if the Seahawks didn't draft that running back, then I would be a lot more happy. But that has kind of fucked me up. But I do think that those 2, like my 2 quarterback keepers, are the best of any 2 quarterback keepers that people have.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's shown to carry it a lot. But I would have to probably go with Bobby. But I think it's cool and shows that the keeper system is a really good idea and works well, because there's not one team that's just like so blatantly like elite with their keeper group, relative to people. And I actually think I was big on Andrew's keepers last year. I actually really like his keepers again. Like, I think Trevor Lawrence in year 3 could take a big leap. I don't love Kittle as a keeper, but I mean, he is still like a top guarantee for a top 3 tight end, which is nice just to have that security. So I think Andrew's got some sneaky good keepers as well.
Yeah, for sure. And his running backs are just like, I don't know if he's going to be able to sell them while they're still valuable. That's the only question mark there. They're gonna drop off eventually, and he's going to have to draft to replace him, but he's missing some draft picks, so that's going to be a little tough. But yeah.
Well, and Finley too, like, I mean, the JT situation is kind of fucked up now, but like if that wasn't going on and Kyler was healthy, like he would probably have the best if everything was normal with that. But the fact that Kyler's coming off the injury and JT's that whole thing's going on. But I mean, like Fields plus Kyler, JT, Tyreek, like that's a pretty crazy keeper group in theory.
Yeah, definitely.
And then who do you have for worst keeper group?
For worst, I have myself as I think I'm tied with Finn for worst, but I would probably lean towards me because Bree. I mean, it depends if Dalvin gets signed to the Jets. That just like ruins him for next year. Like, there's no hope next year. But Mandrews is a big question mark. I would hope that they got a new fucking OC that they would actually throw because Lamar can throw. So I think their whole offense will be better. I think Kirk is solid. They got Addison, so I think he should be as good, if not better. And then Herbert, I think he should be a god. But that's like the positive things. There's a lot of negatives. I mean, the Mandrews sucked ass last year. So if he's like last year, it's gonna suck. If Reese is trash, it's gonna suck. But then, yeah, like you said for Finn, I mean, a year ago, if you told me Finn was keeping these guys, I'd be like, yeah, he's going to fucking win. But everything has gone to shit.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Tyreek is a god, but, like, the offense is, like, built on a straw house, which is to a soft skull. So if he goes down, then Mike White, who knows if he's going to be a god. I mean, he threw it like 50 times a game when he was backing up Zach Wilson. But, yeah, I don't know. So I think between us two, it's probably me with the worst, I would say.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you too. Again, if Finley's players had a normal situation, then I think just pure talent, they're better. But with you, I do worry a little bit with Kirk. Like, I mean, their offense should be stacked, and Jefferson alone is a crutch. But I don't think he's like a super elite quarterback, so I could see like a regression. And then the Brees situation sucks. I also think, you mentioned with like Tyreek, I think Michael's keepers are a pretty risky group. Like you said, Tua is like one concussion away from dying. I think it would be hilarious if Hackett ruins another one of Michael's quarterback keepers after a bunch of hype. I don't think that'll happen on the Jets, but you never know. But yeah, and then Saquon, I mean, Saquon's awesome, but he is getting older and stuff. So I would be in the same boat. I think you three probably are in kind of the same tier for worst keepers.
Yeah.
Do you have a prediction for league winner?
Yes, I do. So I pretty much have Jacob because he has, I don't know. I would lean he's got the best keepers and his draft situation is pretty solid. I mean, he's only missing a second, so I mean, he could fill the hole he has at running back probably with his first round pick, and then he's got there's going to be plenty of really good wide receivers to draft, and I think Deshaun Watson will actually look like his former self. So if that were to happen, I mean, that's how he won last time, and Justin Jefferson just insane. So either him or Bobby, because Bobby owns the entire second round, and he got the second overall pick, which is just insane. So, I mean, he could either get Kelsey or Bijan. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's Bobby. So he could draft. Who knows who he could draft? But on paper, he should draft one of those two, I would say.
Yeah.
And that would put him pretty high up there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Bobby would be my choice if I had to choose one person. Just his combination of keepers and then all the draft capital. I mean, that.
Yeah.
Is like such a crutch. Like you would have to your picks would have to go to shit for that to reach some value. So yeah, I think those are probably the top. I think if things break right for my team, I think I like again the upside with my quarterbacks, but there's a lot more risk in my running back group than I would like. How about league loser?
I have Nick Finley, because of his keeper situation, and I think, let me see, he's missing a third round pick, so his draft situation doesn't look terrible. I mean, he could draft a running back hypothetically, but the fact that Kyler is just, he's not going to be worth a shit at all. I think they're honestly probably going to tank. They're going to join the what's the guy's name at USC? the run for him. They're gonna try to get that guy, so they're gonna think.
Oh yeah, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, so I don't think even if he does come back that they'd actually have him do anything. Probably just keep him healthy to fucking trade him or something. I don't know, but yeah, I think Finn's probably looking pretty rough. And I mean, it's just like if Tua goes down, Tyreek's gonna suck. JT, I mean, that's just like crazy what a train wreck that is starting to do. And now they're talking his ankle's injured again, the same fucking ankle. He's already injured, so it's. But Justin Fields could be insane. I think if he learns how to pass, he could. Who knows? Jalen Hurts, but
yeah, well, I think so.
I think it's. I can never just pick one. So then I got myself there, of course, because my keeper situation's so shitty because I was banking on one of my 2 first rounds being a early first round pick, but that just did not happen. So my draft situation looks horrendous. I don't have a second, and then I'm gonna have to wait about 20 picks until my 3rd round pick. And then I don't have a 5th, so I have myself probably. I'll go with myself for losing.
Okay, nice. I think you and Finley are definitely in the danger zone. I'm thinking Michael's gonna lose this year though. He for so long has had the lowest points for,
yeah,
lowest points against, and his keepers. I know we already kind of talked. There's some risks there, but. Yeah. His draft capital situation is disgusting.
So I know, it's so bad. I forgot how bad it was until I was looking at it for this video.
Yeah, and I mean, we just talked about like the outcomes for like the people that drafted the best in the first 2 rounds versus drafted the worst. He doesn't even have a 1st or 2nd round pick, so I don't know what a 0 in that category does, but it definitely makes it hard to do it. So I think he's my pick just based off the draft capital, and then combined with you would need to have a crazy group of keepers to make up for not having any 1st or 2nd round picks, I think. So yeah, I'm a little nervous for him, but I think it's overdue if you're looking at like the points against and all that stuff over the history of our league.
For sure. And the fact that his keepers are usually always stinkers, but he gets away with it because he drafts well. So, I mean, unless everything goes perfect for all 4 of his keepers, then he should be fine. But I don't think that'll happen. Something's going to happen.
Yep, I agree. All right, I think we can end this. If you have any hot takes you want to throw out there, I have a couple. So I can throw out a first one if you want.
Yeah, go. Well, I mean, your hot take that Michael's going to lose. I like that. That is a hot take. He's never in the losers bracket. So going from always been winning, always mediocrity to being really bad is a hot take, and I would not mind seeing that. But
thank you.
Go ahead if you have any other ones.
Yeah, kind of on the flip side of that, I think Andrew makes playoffs this year. He actually has draft picks for once. And I really like his keeper situation, and I think he's going to make playoffs for the first time.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, he's hitched to the Niners, and they're a very good team. And Kittle just has to be consistent. He's like the weirdest player, so if he's just like as good as he should be, and if Eckler, I don't think Eckler is going to be as good as he is because Justin Herbert's got a cannon. He shouldn't have to dump it off to him every fucking play. And Trevor Lawrence is going to be insane, I think, with Calvin Ridley. So I don't think, that's pretty hot, but it's very possible.
You got any others?
Oh yeah. I think one of these Kelsey or Bijan. I think it's too good to be true that Kelsey just stays as good. I think somebody's going to get very disappointed by Kelsey because he is just too hot to not take. But the guy's got to fall off eventually, and I don't even know if that's a hot take. I just think somebody's going to be left holding that bag. I think that's why no one wanted to fucking keep him or trade to keep him or whatever. Because you had him, right? You were the one that let him go to keep him.
I did, yeah.
Yeah,
so no one wanted him.
Yeah, so you knew, and I think everyone else does, but he's still going to get drafted early because he's a tight end, and he's Travis Kelce, so why shouldn't he be good? But, I mean, Jesus Christ, how long can he be so good for?
Well, he's also been, remarkably healthy throughout his career, which is pretty rare for tight ends usually.
No, the Kelce's got titanium bones or something. Yeah. It's crazy. But other than that, what else do I have? Oh, and not really hot. I think Cooper Kupp I love Cooper Kupp. I think Cam's a genius for keeping him. So if Cam wins because of him, I said it. But I think he's going to be fantastic. Everyone's Stafford's gonna suck, Rams suck. I think he's a fucking god. What wide receiver, except for Justin Jefferson, gets as many targets as he does. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I think that was a great trade by Cam.
Yeah, bought the dip big time, and I think it will work out for him.
Yeah, so I just have one more. We were talking about kind of the trend of how much we've kind of shifted to keeping quarterbacks. I think that's actually going to shift back a little bit this next year. I think people are going to get maybe burned by quarterbacks a little bit because they kept guys that maybe otherwise wouldn't get kept. I think like Tua is a decent example, Kirk Cousins as well. And I also think like with the league kind of shifting to more passing, like you kind of mentioned, there's guys like Geno, Daniel Jones, like Derek Carr, like those guys are pretty like replaceable level value. And
Goff too.
Yeah, oh yeah, Goff's a great one. Yeah, like it's just like that's becoming more of a trend where you don't even have to be an actually good quarterback. You just have to be in a good situation, and more and more teams seem like they're shifting that situation. And so I think kind of like receivers, which I think has kept their keeper value low, is you can just find so much value throughout the draft. I think that situation is going to be the same for quarterbacks, and people are going to maybe get burned on some of the lower end, like keeper worthy quarterbacks that have been kept. Obviously the stud quarterbacks are always going to be like the most valuable asset, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe like some more running backs, maybe like Stevenson, Pollard, maybe some of the rookies this year or some of the like second year guys from last year kind of blow up a little bit, and kind of a next generation of running back kind of shows up. And then at the same time, people maybe get burned on some quarterbacks, and we kind of see a shift back to more running back keepers.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that. I think just the reason people don't is because every like running back situation is such a nightmare and can change so quickly. Gross. Because now, I mean, just this offseason alone, Dalvin hasn't found a team. I think Kareem Hunt. Well, no, they say he signed with the Saints, but that didn't actually happen, I don't think.
Yeah,
so, right. I mean, that would have fucked up he and Alvin. I mean, Zeke hasn't gotten anywhere. He's going to ruin somebody. Dalvin's going to fucking ruin somebody. So that's the risk. But guys, I mean, like J.K. Dobbins, if he was fucking healthy, like shit, I would have kept his ass. But it's just like the Ravens run the ball with 8 different dudes. The Niners do, except for CMC's there, I guess. But that's just like the nature of running back now. There's workhorses that are fucking dead.
Yeah, that's gross. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got. You got any last words?
No, it should be fun. I think I'm trying to, because I'm in the end of the first, I'm trying to plan on what people are going to draft, but I think I'm going to be wildly wrong on all fronts because everyone
feel like the end of the first is going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
I really have no idea like what people are going to do.
I know. I'm like, I would be shocked if there's a running back worth drafting. I'll draft Najee again. No, it's going to be like Jalen Waddle or T. Higgins or something. I don't know. But we draft so wildly. I think we're starting to wise up now. Everyone's got the Fantasy Pros premium. Everyone's got, Andrew's been bringing a binder for years, but we might see another binder this year. Who knows? But everyone, I think it's going to be a wild draft. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I can't wait. And doing it in Mexico, even better.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for hopping on, and I will see you boys in Mexico.
Yeah, see you in Mexico. Bring the sunblock.